Biomed, Nexus, daily updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR, the FDA issued a complete response letter for ITM's radioligand therapy, ITM-11 in gastroenteropancreatic neuroendocrine tumors, citing manufacturing and third-party facility items. The agency raised no clinical safety or efficacy issues. Scholar Rock removed the Novo Nordisk-owned Bloomington Finnish plant from its apitegromab filing after an April inspection was classified official action indicated. The FDA action date is September 30th. Abcelera's ABCL635 cut hot flashes by 8.8 episodes per day versus 3.5 for placebo at week 4 of its phase 2 trial, P0.01, from a single 600 mg injection of the NK3 receptor antibody. Sentinel took an option on U.S. rights to Mereo Biopharma's alvelestat in alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency lung disease in a deal worth up to $475 million plus double-digit royalties. 3 private rounds landed in one day. Vidaris $152 million, Epicrispr $90 million, and Infinimmune $75 million, the last a Series A with Regeneron participation. AbbVie, Novartis, and Bristol-Myers Squibb filed 340B lawsuits in Illinois, opening a new front in the fight over the drug discount program. Executive takeaway: this week's theme is that capital is moving from pipeline to plumbing, and the FDA just supplied the regulatory half of the argument. 2 companies with intact data packages spent the week dealing with rejection or rework for reasons that had nothing to do with their molecules. The science cleared. The plumbing did not. One drug beat an approved standard of care in a phase 3 and still cannot be sold. Another sits fully manufactured waiting on labels after its sponsor had to amputate a facility from its own filing. The transferable point is that as more programs clear the scientific bar, the binding constraint moves downstream to sterile fill lines, isotope logistics, and inspection histories the sponsor does not control. Scarce compliant capacity is exactly the asset the infrastructure buyers we covered Monday are paying up for, and every manufacturing rejection makes their entry prices look more sensible. If you underwrite late-stage biotech, this week added one question to the diligence list. Where is the drug filled, and how did that site's last inspection go? We close the week's loop Friday. Read Full Analysis Manufacturing and Regulatory. The FDA told ITM its cancer drug works. It rejected it anyway. The agency issued a complete response letter for ITM-11 NCTA 77 Lu edotriotide. The Munich-based company's radioligand therapy for gastroenteropancreatic neuroendocrine tumors, citing CMC items and inspection findings at a third-party commercial facility. No clinical safety or efficacy issues were raised and no new trial data were requested, so the phase 3 compete win over everolimus stands untouched. ITM plans to resubmit but gave no timeline. In radioligand therapy, where compliant manufacturing capacity is the scarcest input in the whole modality, the failure mode has moved from the science to the supply chain. Scholar Rock cut the Novo plant from its SMA filing rather than wait for it to pass inspection. After the FDA classified an April inspection of the Bloomington, Indiana fill-finish site, part of Novo Nordisk's $11 billion Catalent purchase, as official action indicated. Scholar Rock removed the facility from its apitegromab application and is proceeding with a second site that has a clean inspection record. The action date is September 30th, and the company says commercial supply is already produced and awaiting packaging. The 2 stories are not connected to each other, and that is what makes them worth reading together. 2 different drugs, 2 different plants, 1 failure category. Clinical data: the menopause market just got its first antibody, and the early numbers allowed. Abcelera's ABCL635, a monoclonal antibody against the neurokinin 3 receptor, reduced moderate to severe hot flashes by 8.8 episodes per day at week 4 versus 3.5 for placebo, P0.01, In a 92-patient phase 2 trial with severity down 58% versus 12, no serious adverse events and no dropouts, all from a single 600 mg injection. The approved competition, Astellas Veozah and Bayer's Linkwet, are daily pills against the same target. BMO Capital Markets put a $2.3 billion peak sales estimate on the program. Durability beyond 4 weeks is the open question, and it is the entire thesis. Deals and financing rare disease money moved on both sides of the table. Insrio Zyda's subsidiary Sentinel took an option on US rights to Mereo's alvelestat, an oral neutrophil elastase inhibitor for alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency lung disease, with $40 million due on option exercise and up to $435 million in milestones, plus double-digit tiered royalties. Mereo leads the global Phase 3, which the deal funds, starting as early as 2027. On the venture side, Vidaris raised $152 million for a Phase 3 in hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia. Epicrispa raised $90 million to push its epigenetic FSHD therapy toward pivotal studies, and Infinemun raised a $75 million Series A with Regeneron participating. 3 rounds, 3 stages, and the earliest one is strategic money. That pattern gets the pro treatment below. Quick hits. AbbVie, Novartis, and Bristol Myers Squibb filed 340B lawsuits in Illinois, per Endpoints News, widening the legal fight over the drug discount program. Abbott and Google Health are building an AI-powered health insights app, pairing Abbott's sensor data with Google's models. Amgen is laying groundwork for a new R&D center in Hyderabad, deepening large pharma's India footprint. Aura Biosciences cut about 20% of its staff and reshuffled its executive team, and Schrödinger is also trimming, per the trade, layoff trackers. In Silico Medicine's chief executive promised more deal-making ahead, per Biospace, after billions in AI discovery pacts. In today's full analysis, be sure to read the full article for all the details, including the side-by-side breakdown of the ITM and Scholar Rock setbacks, and what official action-indicated status actually means, the full ABCL635 data table, and how the antibody stacks up against Veozah and Linkwet, complete Mereo and Sentinel deal terms, plus the day's 3 financing rounds in one table, a 15-question FAQ across the manufacturing, clinical, and deal stories. Read the full breakdown, Biomed Nexus, ProIn, today's Pro Brief. How to underwrite manufacturing risk in late-stage biotech, and the one diligence question. This week made mandatory. Why a single injection menopause antibody threatens 2 daily pills, and what the 12-week data must show for the thesis to hold. What 3 financing rounds in one day reveal about which end of the biotech barbell is reopening first, plus the catalysts to watch into Friday's full calendar upgrade to unlock institutional analysis. 2 drugs with clean data hit the same wall this week, and the wall was made of fill lines and inspection reports. The plumbing thesis is writing its own closing argument ahead of Friday. What are you watching? Reply to this email. Read, full article sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals weekly sales intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more